Darrell Dwarf Millar here with me from automan.ca.
Well said, thank you.
And also, we have to mention Killer Dwarfs fame, right?
Of course, I only spent, 25 years of my life invested into Killer Dwarfs. I don't mind you mentioning that.
Because we cannot forget all that fame with the Stand Tall video.
Right.
Big fame with that. But automan.ca, why automan.ca, not automan?
Very, very simple to answer. It's all about owning a name and the rights to own a name. Automan, the fans basically call the band Automan, but the full name is automan.ca, which stands for Automan Canada. And the reason being, a movie company in the United States owns the name Automan, and I believe it's Glenn A. Larson who had this show in the 80s briefly. It only ran for 8 weeks. It was called Automan, and it was about this. I heard the show wasn't very good.
Yeah, I've seen it.
It was dropped off the network, and apparently it's about this guy that's a car, basically. He's the Automan. He turns into a car. I think it was way ahead of its time, this show.
Before the Transformers.
Yeah, that's what I think it's kind of like. A lot cheesier, so I hear. I've never seen an episode. All I know is that I wanted to own that name, and it ended up, automan.ca was going to be the band's website anyway, so I just tacked that on, and I have the rights to that. So that's it, man. There's no real mystery to it, and the way the band's name. The way we got the name is Carlton Lockhart, my guitar player. He started nicknaming me the Automan because we had this AC/DC tribute band together before Automan started, and the band was called Autobahn, and it was a tribute to Bon Scott.
Right.
Yeah, I put that together very briefly just to get my chops down, my vocal chops. I'm known as a pro drummer, and now I'm a singer, and I wanted to make sure that I was doing it properly, and I went out with this Autobahn thing, kind of like a hockey practice, and got my frontman skills in order before I started the real thing.
Did you ever do Brian Johnson style AC/DC too?
No, never sang a Brian Johnson song. It was all Bon Scott. I have more of a bluesier tone to my voice. I'm definitely not really a screamer, and I am not in the range and screeching of Brian Johnson. It's just not my thing. I wouldn't attempt that. It's like swallowing razor blades. I love AC/DC, and I actually love Brian Johnson as well, but it's not my style. I can't sing that stuff.
So you've been promoting the new album since 2008. When are we going to see a new one? Are you looking into that yet, or?
Well, we've got lots of writing done for it, but the truth is, this day and age, it takes time, Jason. I mean, this record is barely even released. I mean, the world is a huge place. I mean, we've been touring it in Canada, but we're just starting the campaign in the U.S. I mean, it's just going to radio in February of 2010. So I'm sorry to say there won't be a new Automan record till probably 2011. We're just scratching the surface on the Pocket Change record, touring it. I mean, it's going to take 2 years to get this out properly. It's just the way it is these days. I mean, you need to work a record. You need to work it properly, and I want to give it every opportunity I can with it. I just don't want to be throwing these records out every few months. And to tell you the truth, we didn't get a record deal with Megaforce Sony BMG until March, like 6-7 months ago. So the record, even though I've been promoting it since 2008, the record just came out 7 months ago. Okay, because I didn't have a distribution deal when I first put the record together, and then I've been very, very fortunate to sign to Megaforce in New York City, and they're my distributor now. They're just a fantastic company. If you know, they have Anthrax.
They have a big name, from the 80s.
Right. Well, it helps.
Yeah.
It certainly helps. I mean, they're working with me, hand in hand, and I don't feel so alone now with my little record label, working away. I have a great team of people, from publicists to my management to, it's a team of people shooting for the same thing, trying to get this record out there.
Would you say the times changed a lot since Killer Dwarf's days of promotions and today with, what you're seeing in automan.ca?
Oh Lord, don't you know it? I mean, you yourself being the radio business. I mean, you've just seen what the internet has done. I mean, in one hand, it's just the ultimate tool to promote a band, and we didn't have that in the days of the Killer Dwarfs. You know, we used to get mail, like real letters from fans, and we could never read them. I mean, we had people read them for us because we were always on the road, and we literally didn't get to the fan mail. They would tell us about it. And now, you know, I've embraced the internet full out since the year 2000 or 1999, and I talk to the fans. You know, I set aside at least an hour or two a day and go through my Facebook deal, go through my Twitter, go through my MySpace. I go through all the media forums, YouTube, everything out there Automan's a part of, and I talk to the people. And we couldn't do that before, and I've gained a lot of fans that way with this band. And so that way it's invaluable. But then on the other hand, it's created a monster with the fact that there's 12 billion bands now. There didn't used to be that many bands. Now it's so watered down that anybody can just track a record in their bedroom with the proper, you know, laptop and throw a record out on MySpace and tell everybody they're a big band and they have a record out. And then it's your job as the radio DJ to try to figure all that out and see who's the real band here. Who are these guys for real? Do they tour? Or are they a real act? Or are they just somebody that just threw a record out? You know, I mean, man, it's made it kind of crazy. Don't you agree?
It is a big difference in this world of music, and you're right. What do you use more, Twitter or Facebook?
Well, I'm fairly new at Twitter. I've been on it about a month, and Twitter's picking up steam with me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm definitely on it every day, but Facebook I'm on it, Facebook a lot more due to the fact that Automan has a group on Facebook.
Right.
So I have to maintain that, and I have someone else as an administrator helping me with that. So, yes, I actually communicate a lot more on Facebook with fans directly. And I don't, you know the address on Facebook? You just have to search it out. Just look for automan.ca on Facebook if anybody wants to join up to our group. Just do that, and you'll find it. It's the only one on there. And join the Automan group on Facebook. It's fun. Yes, it's growing day by day. We're well over 500 guests on there now, and it's steaming along pretty good.
Well, that's a good number.
Yeah, it's getting out there. It's almost at 600 now, so maybe if some of your listeners join, it'll hit 600.
You know,
it'll be 600.
Oh, for sure. You know that the word Twitter is the biggest word of 2009?
Yeah.
You just heard that? It's incredible.
Twitter?
Yeah.
You know what, Jason? I just don't get the rage of it all. I like Twitter. It's all right, but I just think it's a little bit whack, you know? Like, people get on there, and you're only allowed 25 characters or whatever, and they get on there saying, well, you know, I couldn't get the car started this morning, and I had to call a tow truck.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care about that, personally. I
think it's
I don't know.
For the people that have 50,000 people following, and then when you RT everybody's message, then you get like 50,000 clicks on your website. That's
right.
The purpose, I think, of Twitter, and the people are just going crazy to that.
Yeah, so. And that part of it is very cool. And I use it not for myself. Again, I use it for the band. Our Twitter address is twitter.com/automan_CA. And it's really Automan, but I'm the one that's posting the tweets, but it's an Automan Twitter thing. And basically the tweets that I make are all about the band. They're about, like, your interview, for example. I'll be twittering when you give me the date. When we know the interview's on, whatever, I'll post it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, good idea.
So I use it for that, those kind of things. Media. It's good.
Darrell, when you wake up in the morning, what is the first thing you do? Like, do you check your emails? Do you jump behind the drum set?
First thing I do, I run my record label office out of my apartment, and I basically, that's the first thing I do. Besides getting a drink, you know, together for the morning, I get on my computer immediately, and email is the first thing that I look at every day.
Do you still practice drums a lot?
Well, what's happening is I'm definitely 24/7 a lead singer now,
Okay.
singer-songwriter, and I'm not playing drums near the level I was when I was in bands playing drums, but because drumming has been such a massive part of my life, I'm always going to be a drummer, and I'm not going to just let that go. So what I've done is in my show, in the Automan show, we built a double drum kit, and it's very exciting. Fans love this. So we have a double drum kit built, and my drummer, Adrian Cavan, and I, for one song in the night, I get back on the drums with him, and we do a drum duo. We play a song, one song, no vocals, just an instrumental.
Right.
And we do a drum duo, and we trade off chops, and we have a lot of fun with it. So I actually play one song every night, and that's enough for me. And we tour and play live enough that I'm playing drums fairly regularly just by playing that one song and doing the sound checks and whatnot. So, it keeps me current on the drums, that one song.
That's awesome. That means there is no practice for this. It's all probably on the spot.
Yeah, it's very ad lib. We do stick to a fair plan with it. I mean, we kind of know what we're doing, but every night there's something new we throw in, some new drum fill, something just to keep it fresh, So yeah, it's the song itself is a set song, but the drum chops that Adrian and I play vary. They change from night to night.
Are you going to have a tour, and are you going to go to the Maritimes?
Okay. I've already been working on it.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to tell you this. We did our first swing across Canada west. We went west first. In August, we went to Toronto to Lake Menidosa, Manitoba, which is right on the border of Saskatchewan. Reason we did that is there was a huge festival out there that I wanted to play. And we ended up on the festival, and it was in Lake Menidosa, and it was with Edgar Winter,
Okay.
The Sweet, Kick Axe was on it. They've reformed, and just a great lineup of some old great bands, and I wanted to be on that. And so we were on that festival, and then made our way back, played Winnipeg, all the cities in between, Thunder Bay, Sudbury. Came back to Toronto, and as of the last month or so, we've been touring what I call the 401 circuit of Ontario. So it's kind of Montreal to Windsor.
Mm-hmm.
So we're playing all cities in between, which would be like London, Kingston, Toronto, Oshawa, Ottawa. Gives you an example: Chatham, Tillsonburg, Windsor. We're in the middle of that right now. And in the new year is when the real touring is going to hit once again. We're going to do a swing from Toronto to Vancouver. And in the summer of 2010, we're going to just concentrate on the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
And the Maritimes are going to be in there somewhere from February to June. Okay. Somewhere in there, we're going to get down there for a week and play a week of shows. I almost had it together for October, and I just couldn't coordinate some of these clubs. We were going to do a club tour, so we didn't get on any support bill, so I just wanted to come down on our own. And a couple of the clubs in Fredericton and places like that I needed. I had Halifax. I had that show. And I just couldn't coordinate with my agents and whatnot. I couldn't coordinate Fredericton and Moncton, and they were two markets I needed, and they were booked. Mm-hmm. The clubs were booked 3 months in advance. So I had to blow out the Halifax show that I had and a couple other shows, and I'm working on rebuilding the tour now for the spring, because I don't want to tour down there in the winter. I don't like touring in the winter, actually, in Canada.
Yeah.
We will be there, Jason.
You got to get to Halifax. You got to go there.
No, I know. I love that. I love that city. It's been years since I've been there. The Killer Dwarfs played there a few times, and the East Coast people are they're great. They're some of the greatest people in this country, and everybody knows it. The East Coast is a fabulous place to tour, and it's just really great people that live down there. So I'm really looking forward to coming down there for the first time with Automan, and you can help by playing my songs, Jason.
We shall do that for sure. One last question, Darrell. The Stand Tall video we got to talk about.
Okay.
The big video for Killer Dwarfs. How long did it take you to make that video back, in the day?
if you remember, there was actually two videos off Stantall that were both brilliant and both in high rotation on MTV in the States and Canada. Much Music. There was "Keep the Spirit Alive."
Yeah.
Remember, with the box, the crate flying through the air. And then Stantall, of course, was the gem because it was us making that record when it was going down the clothesline and all that, and it's just, and then the album goes into the microwave oven and turns into an album. It's quite brilliant, and I still love seeing them actually, even though they're older videos. But it only took us. Let me think back. We shot them really fast in a couple of different locations. I think it was shot over a span of a week, but really it was only a matter of 3 days to actually film the whole thing.
Really?
The outdoor footage was shot in Oshawa, Ontario, which is actually where I'm from originally. I live in Toronto now, and I have been for years, but I'm from Oshawa, which is about 40 miles east, or 40 kilometers east of Toronto. And we shot all the outdoor footage there. That took a day, where you seen the theater and there was a teeter-totter thing the guy was on in it. And then the indoor stuff was shot in a building in Toronto that they turned into a studio. It was just a rented space. They rented a space out and turned it into the little factory where the clothesline was with the records going down. And that as well took another full day. You're talking 16-hour day, like an all-day shoot, because it was on a lower budget and we were trying to shoot this stuff fast and keep the cost down. Mm-hmm. And it's a real cool history to those videos, because the guys that shot those videos were U of T grads in film, and they went on to be big in the movie industry in Hollywood. They live down in Hollywood now. Yeah, can't remember. Just forget the guy's name now. I just can't remember the producer's name. Patrick something. Anyway, they went on to do some great things down in Hollywood. They live in Hollywood.
Remember the drum set you had in that video? You had one tom and double kick drum. How cool that looked? Was that your setup at that time?
You know something? I still have those drums.
Really?
That's my Slingerland drum kit. I still have those drums, and I had a bigger setup than that. Do you remember the video Heavy Metal Breakdown, the album before Stand Tall? That was on Attic Records. Did you ever see that video?
I've seen that, I'm sure, but I don't remember at the moment.
Okay. Well, if you see Keep the Spirit Alive, then, which is the other video off Stand Tall, I'm using the same kit in that video, and we're playing live in Keep the Spirit Alive, and that's the same drum kit. I used a different configuration. The only reason the drums had the one tom, I have two toms. I actually always had three toms over the tops of the bass drums. Pretty big drums back in those days. I had a big kit, 2 floor toms, 3 rack toms. And I had the one tom only because I was actually sitting on a little wee bed. If you look back close at that video, I'm sitting on like a kid's bed. The drums are set up on a bed, a single bed. And I couldn't fit anything else on it. And I actually wasn't even, I was playing the drums. There was no bass pedals.
Okay.
It was hard to do. Actually. We couldn't set kick drum pedals, or we had to just lean the hi-hat kind of up. And I just had to pretend I was really rocking out playing those drums.
I tell you look good.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, it's embedded in my brain, and you do all that stuff with one tom, and this is a long time ago. It looked very good on Video Hits. Remember that TV show?
Well, I'm quite an actor, aren't I?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. Well, I was. They were good times, and I was playing air, not really air drumming. I mean, you're mimicking to your own record, right? They play a playback, and you're playing to your own record. So I really was playing the chops that were on the record. It's just that there was no bass drum pedals on that, so I was stomping my feet as if they were there. It was pretty cool. I mean, I had to get kind of hip to that without any rehearsal. They just threw me up there on that little bed, and they go, "You got to play these." And make it look like you're playing them.
Yeah,
and I
for
go,
sure.
Okay. So I didn't really have much training for that. That kind of came natural.
Well, Darrell, it's been a pleasure talking to you. We're going to be pushing the automan.ca Pocket Change album. And,
I really appreciate it, man.
Good luck in all your adventures in touring and selling products.
Yes. Thank you very much. We got our work cut out for us, and we got a lot of work ahead. And I do promise another album after Pocket Change, but you're going to have to wait a while till we get out to all those destinations we want to tour to, such as the East Coast of Canada and the U.S. and the U.K. That's our targets.